Most people think that the more information they can give out, the more they can speak, the smarter they will sound. But that is completely untrue. And you might be in the boat right now where you feel that, hey Felix, I'm just not able to speak for long periods of time. My mind, it blanks out. I'm not able to articulate my thoughts. And I've been in that same position where I felt that there's something holding me back from speaking and being very eloquent with my words. But I'm here to tell you right now that that's not your problem. Your problem is not that you can't speak for longer or that your mind blanks out. It's really about giving value and giving that value in a very concise way. So when you speak, instead of focusing on for how long you're speaking, you should shift your focus to how concise are you? How much value are you giving? And are you clear and is your delivery done in a confidence manner? Because confidence is also very important here. Because it doesn't matter how good your information is and how well you are able to articulate everything. If you don't sound confident, you're not full of conviction in what you're saying, people will not trust you. And this is why it's very important to focus on being concise, delivering value, but also on your delivery. So how are you pausing? How are you pacing? And do you have that sort of energy inside you? Are you speaking about something you truly believe in? Because when you listen to me right now, you can clearly hear that these are things that I've thought through. And these are things that I believe in. And these are things that I practice. I practice what I preach. And what I see a lot of people do, especially people that I train and I coach, is that they usually go from being a very shy, introverted person. They might be very technical. Like I've been the exact same in the past. Very technical, very much in your head. You overanalyze everything and you want to try say more. You want to use better words, better vocabulary, and you get stuck in your head quite often, right? If that's you, usually what I then see is that they go from being this person who doesn't speak much because of overthinking and lack of confidence to then being the yapper, being the one who rambles on, rambling, stumbling, mumbling, over explaining everything, suffocating the other person with a lot of information, just talking way too much. And although I think in some cases it's better to be this rambler or yapper than not saying anything at all, if you truly want to be a great communicator, you want to get that promotion at your job, or you want to be able to walk into a room and have the influence on other people and be able to sell your ideas, then you can't be a yapper. That's what I'm trying to say here. And I think that most of this comes from school, from the educational system. And at least for me, I was always taught that the longer you write or speak, the better. And your presentation should be 15 minutes long. It should be at least 15 minutes long, up to 20 minutes. And you can't do it in less time. Or your thesis, Felix, it needs to be 35 pages. You have to write at least 35 pages. There's always some sort of minimum. You have to reach this threshold of a number. And they're not thinking about quality here. They're just thinking about quantity. But one of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to give the credits to Winston Churchill on this. I'm not sure who is the original creator of this, but Winston Churchill, he seems like a good guy to give credit to. He said that when writing a letter to some of his friends, I think. Yeah, I'm butchering the details here. He said that if I had more time, I would have written you a shorter letter. And that right there should spark something in you. It's an art to be able to be concise. This goes to the business world, because in school you might have a number, might have the certain amount of pages or the certain amount of minutes you have to have on your presentation. But in the business world, it's the complete opposite. In the business world, time is money. And we want to save as much time as possible. We want the most effective way. And you will notice if you're working at a company, or especially if you're working in a startup or in tech, for example, where things are moving quickly. It's a little bit different in the government. But if you're working in a company that wants to grow, you know that time is money, and everyone is busy. Everyone is busy. They're stressed out of their minds. So how you are valuable in this situation and how you communicate effectively is by being as concise and clear as possible. How I look at this is on a value index. This is what I call it for myself. And the value index for me is how much value am I giving per second that I'm speaking. And you want to maximize the value index, which means that when you speak, you really want to have your thoughts thought out. You really want to be able to give as much value in your sentences as possible. And this goes for writing, and this goes for speaking. This goes for having a presentation, to just having a conversation with someone and delivering some sort of value, teaching them something. You want things to be effective. That's the thing. Effectiveness. That's the name of the game. What relates to this topic is also coding. I think that's a pretty good example to just hammer this home. I know I'm not the most concise in this video, because if I would really want to be concise, I would just say a few sentences. You should be concise so that your communication is more effective. That would be the concise way of creating this video. I could make a short out of it. But the reason I want to give you these different examples is that you can actually hear it from different angles and really internalize this. Because I'm not creating these videos for you just to consume this and your life stays the same. That is not the point. The point here, and the reason I'm concise with my words, but I'm elaborating more, is that I really want you to take action on this. I want you to ride the tiger, be the man in the arena, and get some value out of this. And if you do, please let me know in the comments if this is valuable for you and what you would like to see next. But going back, that was a side tangent, alright? But going back to the topic, I like to think about code. If you know anything about coding, there is this thing called 10x or 100x or 1000x coders. These coders who are just able to outproduce everyone. And usually in coding, I'm obviously not a coder myself, so I'm not able to give you the details here. I'm not able to give you the right terms per se, but I'm gonna break this down in as simple way as possible so it's very clear for you. When you're coding, a good coder is always able to produce the same end result with less code. This is one of the reasons why Bill Gates was such a good coder and how he was able to turn Microsoft into one of the most valuable companies in the world and lead the revolution of the computers and software. And that was because he was so determined on writing the cleanest and shortest code possible. A sloppy coder would just write tremendous amounts of code. They would just write pages and pages of code, but it would be sloppy. It wouldn't be as clear or as good. And that takes a lot more energy. That takes a lot more effort. But a true master, like Bill Gates, he's able to write the same code with just a few sentences, maybe one page max, and produce better results. And when the code is cleaner, the message is cleaner as well. It's easier to pick things apart and understand it. It's easier for other coders than to go in there and make changes to it. I hope that this makes sense for you. If you don't know much about code, it might be that this doesn't really make sense, but hopefully you understand my analogy here. But the thing I want you to take from this video is that being concise is a superpower. And instead of focusing on talking more, communicating more, writing a longer letter. Start focusing on what really matters. And that is the value you're giving. Start focusing on that. And you don't have to be a speaker who's able to talk for hours upon hours. Usually the best communicators, they don't say that much. But when they speak up, when they talk, when they write code, they bring a lot of value. They really hit a tone. And their words, they weight more. So in your next conversation or your next presentation that you're going to have, just think about this. Get this idea of rambling and yapping on, get that out of your head and just focus on the value. And if you're one of these ramblers, just start thinking, how could I say this with 50% less words? Or in half the time I would normally say it. And I promise you, if you do this, if you start thinking about these things, your career, your success in both business and personal life, they will skyrocket. Because people respect effective and great communicators.